And I'm just waiting. There's the email confirmation. I have to see. Now, let me look at the social stream thing. Let me try not to make the same mistake I've made so many times. Whoa. Well, that's interesting. Now that popped up. Really? Okay. Okay. Does that mean it worked? I don't get it. Select live source. Okay, already added. Oh, okay. So why? I tell you, this thing just doesn't make any sense to me. Close this window after signing in. Okay, I closed it. But why? I can't see it. Well, okay. This makes no sense. This thing gets weirder and weirder and weirder. Stop. Toggle visibility. Oh, why would it toggle it off? All right, it's there. Whatever. Okay. All right, that's working. All right. So that's working. That's working. So I tell you, this thing is mystifying. Mystifying, I say. Well, happy. Was it Monday? Monday, everybody. I tell you, I saw something. Somebody posted something on Blue Sky. And unfortunately, because I try to keep this as like a family-friendly stream, I cannot possibly post what it is or even repeat it. But it was so funny. It was so funny that I was laughing. The hardest I have laughed. I can't even tell you I don't know the last time. I really don't. I do not know the last time I laughed as hard as I did. Why is the background not? Hold on a minute. Why is? There it goes. I don't know why I have to. Is that not set to automatically restart? It says loop. Oh, it's weird. Anyway, I haven't laughed that hard at something. Oh man, in so long. Like I said, I'm sorry I can't tell you what it is because it is very much not safe for work. But, oh, man, was it funny. Now, let's see if this works. Test one. I doubt it. Wow. Really? This is working right off the bat without me having to do anything? Wow, that's almost scary, to be honest. Okay. Well, it says it's all working. Everything appears to be working, so I guess we're good. It's weird. I'm going to be doing something different tonight. So let's go ahead and do this. All right, let's see. Oh, I did reflector, I think. Oh, but it didn't. Okay, reflector for some reason didn't update. All right, hold on. Even though it was fine a second ago. Hold on, I got to stop the mirror, restart the mirror, even though it was fine a second ago. All right, now let's see. All right, now it's there. You should be seeing a blank white screen, which is exactly what it is. Because I'm going to do something different. I'm going to try something, and I've never done this before, so this may be disastrous. We'll see. But I saw somebody post, I think on Blue Sky, a method to do kind of sketching that they do. And they do it through what I would have to say has got to be like a painted, well, I can probably do it with a pen, well, but not with white. White's not going to work. Well, yeah, that's not what we want, though. We want like a, I don't know, I guess a blue color, but I want to turn the opacity way down, I guess, because the way they did this was they were trying to kind of get a sketch, because I was trying to do something the other day. I was trying to sketch, let me see something here. Yeah, that's probably good. I was trying to sketch the Resident Evil 3 villain Nemesis, who I've always really liked. Hold on, there's something on my screen. And I tried to do a sketch, and honestly, it just looked so bad. By the time I got to a certain point, I just didn't like it. And I think part of it is because it was too stiff. There wasn't a lot of motion to it. And I happened to see somebody who posted that one of the ways that they kind of build up sketches from nothing is they do this kind of building technique where they start with like the gesture and scene, and they just keep building up parts of it and darkening things like that. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to try it. I've never sketched this way before. So actually I'm going to drop this even further down. Let's go to the opacity like 5. All right, that might have been too much. Let's go to 10. How's 10? All right, there we go. Just enough that you can see it. You can see this, right? Yeah, you should be able to see that. So I have to just, this is brand new to me, so I don't really know how this is going to work. But essentially, I'm trying to like figure out how I want him to. Because Nemesis, I'm going to try to exaggerate him too. Nemesis is this, he's interesting because he's both very large but not bulky. You would think he would be more muscular and like solid, but he's really not. In fact, you know what? I probably have a... Do I have an image? Hold on, let me see. I don't know if this is going to screw something up. Let me see if I can find an image of him that I can quickly put in here. Okay, this will work. Yeah, this is what I was... Did it really? Did it... Oh, really? Oh, whatever. It'll work enough. It doesn't matter. You just need to be able to see it. This is the thing I was kind of working off for some of the reference. How do I just... There it is. Okay. Let me turn this back on. Okay, so there's Nemesis, right? This is what Nemesis generally looks like. So big, but not really built big. Just kind of, you know. But this is basically just to get the forms and the outfit and everything correct. So, but that's what I mean about he looks like he should be beefier than he is, and he's really not. Except up in like the shoulder areas like here, you know, and like this, all this area. So he's big on top, and then he thins out as he goes down. So anyway. Let's turn that off and let's go to a new layer and see. But I want to give him some, because he's fast in the game too. The thing is, you think he's slow, but he's not. He's fast. Yeah, he's a great enemy. I mean, Resident Evil 3 is my favorite Resident Evil because he constantly is pursuing you through the game. Hi, Chameleon, by the way. Oh, good, it's showing up on the screen. So he's constantly pursuing you, and you never know when he's going to show up. And so I want to have, but he's fast. Like if he gets into the room with you, he doesn't just kind of don't like a slow RoboCop thing. Like he will run at you, except when he's firing rockets at you, which, you know, he eventually gets a rocket launcher. And he has these tentacles that you can't see them, but there's these things that come out of his hand like that. He can that's how he can kill you. He can actually eject this thing out of his hand. But originally he does not have the rocket launcher, which he has there. But he does eventually, so I want to have that. Now the rocket launcher, I don't like how thin this rocket launcher is, so that's another thing is I want to make it bigger. But like I said, he's all topside, you know, as far as like the distribution of it, like big shoulders, big head, big arms, right? But then he kind of slims down a little bit as he comes down. His legs are fairly normal. I mean, they're not, I'm sure they're muscular, but they're not as big as you might expect. So I want to try to capture a pose for him that's a little bit more dynamic, like threatening, but kind of goes along with his general thing. So, you know, we'll do like the head. The head is kind of easy. It could just go anywhere and it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to have it probably be low. And then, you know, something like the shoulder here, and that's a big shoulder. And it's going to have another giant shoulder, although the other one doesn't seem to be quite as big as the right-handed one is. And it's like, okay, I want to have like his hand like that, and then the tentacle coming out type of thing, something. But that's not... No, you know what? Maybe actually, hold on a minute. Let me see. If I get rid of... Let me go to the paint thing here. If I get rid of this, and I drop the shoulder down where he's kind of like... You know, so... Okay, yeah. So I have the shoulder coming up here, and the arms coming here, and then the hand. I mean, this is just, again, very, very loose. But, like, his hand is here. The tentacle's kind of coming out and whipping towards the camera out of his hand. Right? And then that goes into there. And this, you know, this is all covered by it, but still. Okay, so that's, the chest is coming out like that. This would fall behind. You know, I gotta move this up. It's gonna be way too low. Okay, there we go. Then the other thing is I gotta figure out how he's gonna be standing, but we'll get to that in a minute. So this is him coming down. And, you know, so that's okay. There's a line there. That's coming up. Right, and then how do I want him holding the rocket launcher? Let me think about this. So, because he's going to have that behind him, kind of like that's his secondary. Like, he'd rather kill you with the tentacle. Like, this is his primary. But the rocket launcher is if that doesn't work. So, I don't know if I want to have it on his shoulder. Because I could have him holding it like this, like, you know, with his hand on it like that. I don't know, that seems... I don't know, maybe. How would that work? Let me think about this. So if his arm is coming behind him, But that would have to be coming. His arm would have to come up. If he's going to be holding it like that, where he's got his fingers on it. So that would have to kind of do this. Something where it's going behind him. And then, hold on, let me move him down a little bit. And then the rocket launcher could be sitting there, kind of like this, like behind him. And then, you know, shooting out in the front here. And then it would be in front of his arm there, and then his hand would be over it. I guess that doesn't look terrible. You know, like a scope or something on it, and then, you know, this end of it. Oh, and there's like a little sight thing on it or something, so we'll do that too, so he can look at it. That's how he looks and aims, I suppose, through whatever this is. So he's holding that. And then, okay, now, how will he be standing? How would he be standing? How would he be standing? Okay, let me do like a little. So if he's standing ahead, right, it's kind of like this. His arm is out. That's that rocket launcher. So how would he stand? You don't want him just standing straight. That's kind of boring if his legs are just straight. So it's almost like he'd have to be coming like that. Well, hold on, let's see. I mean, most of his legs are going to be covered anyway, but, right, so. I don't know, that seems a little swimsuit edition with the leg coming up like that. I don't know if I like that at all. In fact, I could kind of tell I hate it, so we'll get rid of that. So let's go back to the stick figure. Let's see. So I almost have to stand up and try to figure out how this pose would work. If he's all right, so he's got the one arm out. He's got the rocket launcher on the shoulder. How would you stand like that? So it's almost like you have to have this. This is the hip area. You know what? Let me put this on a secondary layer because I don't mind. The torso so far is okay, so let's do another layer. Because this might be the part that I'm going to have trouble with. Right, so, okay, that's general hips area. So, see, I don't like, no, that looks even worse. How would he be standing? This leg out. No, I don't like that. I don't like that, so it's got to be more to it than that. So, well, I mean, I guess if he's standing over... Okay, let me think about this. Hold on. Sorry, I have to think this out, because I'm literally just doing this in... I'm trying to picture this in my head as I'm sketching this out. And I've just realized I definitely need to make this canvas taller. At least for now, this canvas is not the right size. So what I need to do is extend the bottom way out because he's supposed to be tall. Let's make sure I have enough layers. I'm sure I will. Yeah, 100. Yeah, I think I'll be fine. 144 layers, I'll be fine. Because I mean, if he's just standing there, it's just boring, right? I mean, it's just there's nothing to that. So what can I do with this? What can I do with this to make it more dynamic? Because he's not going to be running. Hold on, I'm going to literally stand up. I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so if he's standing there, right? I'm standing up, so I'm not at my iPad at the moment. Let me just move it so it doesn't fall. Okay, hand is out, right? He's got the shoulder. How would that be menacing? I mean, how would he stand if somebody was in front of him? I know you can't see this, but I'm just standing here. I've got my arm out, okay, like he does. That's what the rocket launcher. Yeah, I guess okay, so I've got one leg forward. Standing, yeah, I don't like the standing straight thing. Okay, hold on. So standing with one leg out. That one's sideways. It's behind that. Okay, I mean that. Okay, so that's like straightforward. All right, I mean, I guess. Let me try it. Let me see. Let me try. Hold on. Let's see. I mean, I didn't look at myself in the mirror or anything, but I can kind of tell how my leg was. So it was kind of like this leg is out here, knee area, and then that shoots down to the foot, essentially. Okay, his legs will not be that thin, I promise you. And then see, this is just that's so boring. I mean, I know he's supposed to be just imposing by his size, but I don't like how boring those legs are. It's just boring. Yeah, no, it's tough. I mean, this is the hard part about trying to come up with something just on the fly. Is I almost think he's going to have to be like crouching down or something. Like he's almost going to have to be. No, that's not going to work. Okay, hold on. I have to think about this. This is. I mean, this is a very, very, very honest look at how sketching works sometimes. I've got half of a good idea, which is the top half. You know what? In the background, I have a web browser open. Oh, you know what? I just realized I meant to post on Instagram and I didn't. Hold on. That's why I opened this. I forgot. I never actually posted. That's why the web browser's open. Hold on. I might as well just post this. I might as well post this so people can come in here and see me completely getting stuck on something, because that's going to be fun for them. Just hold on. I have to find my little pre-made thing here. Yep. Okay. I mean, I just use the same text all the time. I don't do anything inventive or interesting. Okay. There. Okay, let me look up like dynamic figure poses. You know what? You don't always have to invent things from whole cloth. Okay, 900 plus dynamic pose ideas. Okay, well, some of these are not what I would call dynamic, but that's okay. I have nothing better. Boy, there's nothing like pulling up a big page full of people's illustrations, many of whom are far better than you are, to make you go, oh boy, what am I doing? Well, you know what? Okay, wait a minute. This one's interesting. Okay, hold on. That's not bad. That's not bad. You can't see it, I know, but basically, I'm on a different layer, right? Let me just give it a general kind of, I'm going to do the legs separately because I have to reverse them. But essentially, the pose that this figure has is roughly like that. Move that up. Oh, I didn't realize I did it on the, hold on a minute. I don't want to have it on the same. I'll leave the hip area where it is. Let's do a new layer. There we go. Okay, let me see this. So it's roughly the legs coming down like this, hitting into the knee, right, and then move that up. Don't worry about the fact that this is completely disconnected from everything. I'm not focused. I'm focused on just the shape of this. This is actually interesting, right? So then that's the foot area. Okay. See, this is what I mean. Sometimes if you're stumped, don't just try to work yourself out of it. Sometimes you go and you find how somebody else has solved it and see if it applies. Let me turn that off and that off. So that's that leg. Hold on a minute. I couldn't see what you said. Let me jump back here. Maybe bend the leg slightly like a relaxed standing posture. I'm not sure. Yeah, well, I'm going to try this. I want to see what this looks like, because this is kind of, this is more than, it's still standing relatively straight, but the bend of this one leg is really good. So I want to see what this looks like. So basically, it's more or less like that. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then the other leg is kind of coming down. And then, you know, knee basically roughly same. And then leg comes up like that. And then this kind of swirls out. And the foot. That's kind of how I was standing, somewhat. It's close. So back of the foot, just the calf muscle. And this isn't really completely straight. It's more like that. Okay, so now the difference is that is facing completely the wrong way, so that's where you take that, and we would drop it down to be a similar, it's still a little big, but roughly something like that. Actually, maybe it isn't that big. I keep forgetting. He's pretty tall. So something like that. Ow, right on my finger. That's not bad. That's better than what I originally had. Let's put it that way. So that's not a bad option. All right, let's look back here. Hold on. Your suggestion was Ben likes like really. Yeah, that's yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying, and I don't necessarily disagree, but I don't want him to look relaxed. I want him to look threatening. That's the trick, is when it's in a state like this, the threatening elements aren't necessarily very obvious because, you know, it's just the outlines. I feel like the legs need to be a little smaller. I mean, you're not even going to really see them. Okay, yeah, that's better proportion-wise. See, because he's got all that costuming on, so you're not going to see a lot of this either. But that's not bad. That's not... The legs like that are not... I could live with those. I could live with that. But let me take a look through this thing and see if there's more stuff. Yeah, that one is okay. I'm all right with that one. Yeah, some of these just don't make sense for what Nemesis is. I mean, obviously these are very... You know, they're just all over the place. No, see, he wouldn't have his leg up like that. He's not flying. So it's almost like it has to... Trying to make a dynamic standing pose, as you can clearly tell, is not the simplest thing in the world. Oh, no, he wouldn't be bent like that. That's very anime style, which is fine, but that's not what I'm going for. I'm going for more like just giant threatening thing. And a lot of these are more action-oriented, which is fine. Yeah, his legs would not be widened out like that. God, there's so many of these. Yeah, see, like I'm looking at some of the people that have drawn like the Hulk. And it's funny because the Hulk is very similar and kind of, he doesn't have to be moving to be imposing. But boy, they're doing so little with his legs. Let me see, here's a King Shark image. Yeah, it's pretty much like this. It's the legs. I guess this is just the only way you can do it, where there's a large creature just standing this way. It's kind of legs like this. That's what most of these look like. So far. I mean, the other dynamic poses are much more action-oriented than this would be. Yeah, that doesn't make any... That's not very dynamic at all. I mean, not in the bottom half. Top half's fine. This might be the way to go. This might be the way to go. I think at least for now... I'm going to run with this. Kind of like it. So, all right. Well, it's a starting point. Can always modify it. So basically, now the tricky bit is to then bump the opacity up a bit. So say 30%. But make a thinner line. Okay, not that thin though. Actually, let's go back to this pen. And we'll drop the thickness of this down to like 5. We'll bring the opacity to 30. Okay, that's a little bit more precise. There we go. And just kind of rough out some of where the outfit would be. Again, just roughing things out. See, like the arm would come here. The arm would go there, and that would be a bicep that comes to that. This whole shoulder is exposed. If you look here, that shoulder is basically exposed there. At least he's not standing like he's fixing to go. Yeah, this is pretty good. I think once everything is on, I think it's the idea that just because the motion is really that coil coming out of his hand, and then having the rocket launcher in the back. So I think it's going to work. I think it's going to work. Now the hand is going to be tricky. Because, this is, well, I'm going to leave that for now. So this then attaches over here. This is the big kind of gnarly mutating shoulder. So you'll have a lot of like mutated elements and stuff coming out of here. Kind of just, right. This is all warped and weird looking. And then the face here. Face is kind of weird on him. You can see it's like cut over. Like he's got a big scar thing happening there. He's got this giant jawline. So that'll get cleaned up, but that's pretty much it. And then he's got the eye happening there. Right. And he's got all this exposed, these teeth. So you're going to have this here, and that's a pretty good line for where the teeth would go, more or less. All right, and then, staples, and again, head's all screwed up, scarred out. This side's actually relatively okay. I mean, for a monster, it's not burned off or anything like that. Something like that. And then, well, the rocket launcher is going to cover some of it, but not all of it. So he would still have, this would still be exposed. This would come around and kind of meets up where that is, more or less. And then, neck, some muscle stuff. This isn't all that scarred out and distorted, really. It's just, relatively. And let's see, so then if he's holding the rocket launcher like that, it is going to go over most of his shoulder. So here we would just have his hands. So this would be his fingers kind of holding onto this. He does have big fingers. So we'll do that. Just again, this is all just placeholder stuff, but his hands are pretty big. So that would be holding that. Then we might as well, let's do this. Let's do a new layer for the rocket launcher. So the rocket launcher is going to kind of go straight back and straight back. And, I'll do all the technical stuff on the rocket launcher. I'll probably find some kind of rocket launcher for reference. I don't think I'll just go completely off of imagination for that. But more or less, this is just for now. Okay. This is whatever this sight type thing on here is. Just doing lines just to have basic forms in place. Right, and then that's going to hook onto something over here. I don't know exactly how that would attach, but whatever. Okay, so let's just go ahead just to make sure we're keeping things somewhat the way they need to be. Yeah, that's gonna have to be higher. Yeah, that can't, that's completely wrong. Oh, wait, before I go crazy, I don't necessarily, I put this on its own layer, right? Yeah, so this has to be more like this. Okay, so this has to be more like it's sitting on top of that shoulder like that. So that means I have to adjust the hands, but that's okay. Or the hand. But that's not a problem. Because, yeah, that's definitely, that looks more like what it should than the way I had it before. That didn't make any sense. Just put an end on it here. Okay, so then if he's, okay, so shoulder. Wait, am I on the wrong? I'm on the wrong thing. Wrong layer. This might be something I actually have to like pose and take a picture of myself for to get an idea of what this will look like. Because the fingers are going to come over that just like they were before. So that part's right. Right. Okay. But then that changes because you have to figure the hand comes here. Has to link up to the arm. It comes to here. This is all just general stuff. I'm just trying to work this out. Okay. Yes. Well, he does. Yeah. I mean, if you look, he does. He has very large fingers. So, and this is not permanent either. This is just kind of placeholder stuff. So, if I was going to draw the actual finger, it would be more like, well, not like that, but it would be more like this and coming up, and it would have a nail on it and some more of the joint stuff, and then the glove will come over it. So it'll look different once it's actually done. But yeah, for now I'm just doing basic forms, just to get the sense of where everything is. And I will probably, I have a 3D modeler that I can use. So once I've got the basics of this, I'll probably put that 3D modeler and make a pose out of it so that I can see, because I know some of these are off. I mean, I can just looking at it, this is not correct, but this is just more of the broad kind of gestury stuff than having it all absolutely where it's supposed to be. So it is going to look, it's going to look janky for a bit, because this is really just putting the basic ideas in place. So that will come down like the hand. I got to figure out how that hand is going to look. It's going to look wrong no matter what I do now. Like if I try to actually draw it now, that's completely wrong. And I probably want a different pose to it where like the fingers are kind of like this, and then the thumb's coming out, and then this thing comes out, something like that. So I can actually leave that. That's not a bad guide. It's kind of the general place of the hand. And then as far as the bottom goes, see, this is where this weird costume, I have to like look at it and get a sense of it, because there's this, it kind of comes down from here, and then there's basically like a flap to the bottom that then follows back up. Then that shoots off into each of these areas that go up. And then there's like a half, whatever this is, coming out that goes into there. And then on this side, it comes down and it's well above the knees. It kind of goes right below this. And then it comes out again. And that, well, that is above the knees, so that should be a little higher. So then this comes out and kind of goes to there. Okay, and then we have these pant legs that go over the boots, which are fairly large. So again, you want to just kind of have that for the form. And then this one is sideways, but still, that's going to hang almost straight. And then it's going to fold on there. And that comes up. Then you have these boots, which are, you know, since that one's straight, that's fairly easy. Just have a boot there. Kind of keep that level. And then this one is going to be more like, more or less like, I don't know. I mean, there's going to be a little curve to it, but depending on, yeah, that's probably not going to look like that in the end, but it's fine for now. But yeah, that's not right, because it's not level. This isn't even level. Hold on. Yeah, no. Yeah, that's not how the foot's gonna look. Hold on, we gotta fix that. No. Gotta have the foot be level, so it's gonna have to come down to there. Shoot out here. And then of course you have a little bit of a thing to it. There we go. That's better. At least it's straight now. Unbelievable. Dip that out. So that's closer. All right, so, okay, so I can turn the thing off. Okay, so I think, so what I'm looking at is, okay, I kind of like the bottom's not bad. I'm sorry to hear you have insomnia. That's terrible. A friend of mine has that too. He struggles with it all the time. I've been very lucky. So far, I've never had an insomnia problem. I hope I never do, so if you gotta go, go. I don't want you to be stuck up. How long? 34 minutes? Yeah. I mean, a lot of this is just going to be me kind of working sketch stuff out anyway. I'm just trying to get a sense. You know, the proportions on that are right, but I wonder if he's not... I want to say he's not big enough on the top. I think he needs to be bigger. I think the top side of him needs to be bigger. Yeah. I think that's the problem. A problem is that he's not big enough this way. I need him to be bigger. So I almost want that shoulder to come out that far. And just maximize the top end of him out. Yeah, see, I think that's better. I think it is. I think that's a better thing. It's still not there, yeah. This would come out. Still can be in the same general area. But I feel like he needs to be thicker on the top. And probably needs to come out more this way too. Although that's probably okay, because the arm's going to get hidden anyway. But I feel like this arm needs to be bigger. It needs to be more that way. He has to have more horizontal mass on the top. Where is that? That's here. Let's see. Let's just see how that looks. Taking that out. Yeah, I think that's more in line with what he actually looks like. So something like that. That comes down. That's going to be there. This still gets ripped up. So that part's fine. But now he's bigger on that side, which makes more sense with that. And then, yeah, this is coming. Oh. Hold on. Uh-oh. Mic died. Hold on. Hold on a second. Let me... Oh, wait. Did it come back? Oh, what if it... I think the battery... Is the battery low? Hold on. Where's my little battery meter? Oh, no. No, the battery's okay, according to that. Can you hear me now? That's weird. Well, I'm showing the sound waves, so it must be working. Yeah, I didn't mute it, right? No, I didn't. All right, that was muted. Now I'm back. Okay. So, sorry, I didn't realize the mic went off. That's a first. I mean, the mic... Hold on, I'm just looking at the battery. It's a little wireless mic I'm wearing. No, that battery's like halfway, so that must have just been a weird fluke. Now, I think... Can you hear me now? It should have come back. It should have come back. Hopefully. Hold on, is this still working? Okay, now you can hear me. But now my thing froze again. Oh, man. All right, hold on. This is easy to fix. Stop mirroring. Go back. Mirror. All right, that at least is simple to fix. So hold on a minute. And I'll do that. And now there we go. Yeah, so, sorry. What I was saying was, I'm trying to figure out a pose that will work for Nemesis from the Resident Evil games. And I'm trying to find an image, like a reference. And we'll add the source. And yep, no, I'm going to my backup mic. So this one is wired, so it cannot die. Well, it can't lose battery, but now I have to name that source. Okay, no, that's named. Okay, so that's fine. I'm going to take this off. I'm going to charge it. Although I really don't know why it's going off, because according to the battery meter, it should have plenty. But luckily, I have another mic. It's just kind of in my way, but I can use it. All right, there we go. Let me turn this off. That's okay. That's okay. You know what? Okay, you can hear me now, right? You should be able to hear me. I just have to keep this mic where I don't hit into it. So yeah, I'm trying to find a good running reference point, and I'm not coming up with one. I'm coming up with about every other possible figure reference that you can imagine. You know what? Let me try searching, let's say, figure running at camera. Let me see if that... hold on, I heard it. Okay, good. Good. All right, let's try this. Maybe I have to be more specific. Okay. These are better. All right, yeah, that one's okay. I might be able to use that. Let's try this one. All right, so let me switch back here. And let me see here. Let me make sure that my thing is still... Wow, it froze again. The mirror... Now my problem is the mirroring thing keeps freezing. Hold on. That is bizarre. All right, there it goes. I don't know why that keeps freezing. I mean, it's always something. Okay, so let's see. Now that I know that that's back again. So let's try this. So let's do a new layer. Let's drop this way down for the moment. Let me just do the basics of this figure I'm seeing here. So this figure is basically hands coming up like this. Right. And then his arm is going this way. Okay. And then this comes behind. Hold on, I can't see what you're saying. So, yeah, it does. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah. Okay, so what's happening is, I think every time... Okay, hold on. I think every time I go to the web browser, it's freezing. So I'm going to try something. That's okay. I know a way around that. I think that's what's freezing. Oh, yeah, that's what it was. As soon as I closed the web browser, okay, so the web browser was interfering. Okay. All right. You know what? I got it. I just downloaded the picture on my desktop. I opened it in a preview window. That's fine. That's fine. Now, at least I know what's doing it. As long as I know what's doing it, I can work around it. That's okay. All right, so here we go. All right, so the body comes down like this. Then this arm is coming back like this, roughly like that, and then the arm comes like this, and this is his hand, and then that's going there, and so finger, okay. So that's that. His head is about here or so, just roughly. Eye line is right there, maybe. Nose, mouth, okay, running. All right, and then chest-wise, coming in here, sweeps across. This is coming down. So this is all just basic gestural stuff. I'm not worried about high precision here. And then we've got this leg coming down. Knee is about there. And then that leg is coming up. And then the other one is coming around like this. And then this knee is much higher up. And then the thigh is coming off of there like this. And then, that's interesting. I would not have thought the leg would bend that way, but I don't do a lot of running, so what do I know? So then the leg is kind of going like this into the foot is here. And then this is coming up. This comes around. And then on here it comes down. Okay. And then this is going down. And the other foot is... let's see. When did you start making on YouTube? I don't remember exactly. I'd have to look. I mean, it was... probably a couple of years now, I would have to think. Actually, I can tell you. Hold on. Give me a second. It's fine. I can use a break from this for a minute. Anyway, let me look because I can go to YouTube and I can tell you. Let's see. If I go to my channel and I go to videos and I go, wow, I have to scroll for a long time. Hold on. Scroll. Wow. Okay. Wait, can I go Otis first? I can't on this anymore. So this is, let's see, what's the oldest one I see on here? Boy, these go back a ways. I mean, this one here is a year ago. Let's keep going. Oh, sorry, I forgot. My mic's not on my shirt anymore, so I'm probably sounding far away. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's see. That's a year ago. I didn't realize I was leaning back because I'm used to my mic just being on my shirt. And, yeah, that doesn't work with this mic. This is a static mic. So, this mic probably sounds a little better because it's a nicer mic. The problem is I can't pin it to my shirt because it weighs like 3 pounds. And it's on an arm. So, but the problem is, like I said, it's in my way because it's kind of, I mean, not terribly right now, but I wouldn't want to normally draw like this. Okay, here we go. So the first stream I did was around 2 years ago. Yeah, that sounds right. 2.5 years ago, something like that. Okay, yeah, that's right. About 2 years ago. 2.5, something like that. Yeah. I mean, I was posting illustration time lapses before that, but that was the first real stream like this. Okay, so that's the basic figure there. So that's a running figure. But what I want is I want to reverse that. Or do I? No, I guess I don't, because that's the way the body forms when you're running. So no, I actually wouldn't want to reverse that. That's actually correct. The difference is that for my figure, shoulder's going to be about there. He's going to have this huge mutated shoulder. So this is going to be the trick, is kind of grafting these two things together. So we fade that out a little bit. We fade this out a little bit. Oh, that's great. Yeah. No, it's, I mean, and not in any serious way. I mean, I've just been kind of fooling around with it. You know, obviously you've seen the state of my streams. So if I was going to do it professionally, it'd be a lot different than this. I mean, I'd have to invest some real money. But even then, I don't think it's even that. I think it's just, you know, there's people who have really custom rigs for all this stuff, and I just do not. Just is not something that I'm probably likely to do. Okay, so this is where his eye would be. He's got this thing, so just laying in basic form so I know where things are. Teeth would be, right? So, okay, there's his head. Now this is where, following this, he's got this massive shoulder. So you would see that well out here. I mean, it would be huge because it's this big mutated shoulder looking thing. So that would stick out. And then the difference is, where he's like putting his arm towards towards you, and then has the hand and then the tentacle coming out. Okay, so yeah, so it would be something like this, something like that. Yeah, something like that. I have to figure out how that would be, but this could work. This might actually work. I have to, but this is all like that. Would have to be like this. But I can kind of see it. I just have to work it out. I can kind of think how this would work. Well, I've been at this for about an hour. I think I'm going to take a break because I'm trying to, I just have to figure out if this is even going to work. I don't know if I'm convinced that this can even work. I don't know. So I'm trying to, and I think I've been at it now too long, and it's starting to like wear on me because I can't get it quite to look how I want it to. So I don't want to become angry at it and just give up on it. But because I have that tendency. So I think what I need to do now is to just not look at it for a little bit. Like I said, it's a good thing to do, is not look at something. So I think I'm going to stop here because I can sense I'm starting to get slightly frustrated. Oops, clicked wrong thing. Slightly frustrated at not getting it where I want it because I can see it in my head, and yet I cannot quite get it to look the way I want it to. But instead of just getting angry and erasing the whole thing, which I did with an earlier version, I'll be honest. Not the running version, an earlier version where he was just staying there, and I looked at it, I hated it so much I just deleted it right off. So I don't want to do that because I think the running thing potentially could work. So I'm going to stop. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. That's what I want to do now, and then come back to it and see how I like it. Because I think it has potential. I just have to get it where I need it to be. It's how art is sometimes. It doesn't always just work. Sometimes it takes work to get it to work. So sorry about the technical stuff. I really didn't think that mic, I mean, I don't know why I kept shutting off because it looked like it still had battery. But you know what? I'm glad I have a backup. So now if I need the backup, I've got it and this works. So that is workable. So on that note, thanks for stopping by and saying hello and hanging out for a little bit. I appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, whatever day it is. If you're watching it live, it's Monday, but you might be watching this a month from now, and it could be Thursday, for all I know. So whatever day, morning, evening, noon, whatever, have a great rest of your day. Do something creative, or go watch somebody else do something creative. Maybe find somebody else who's drawing Nemesis, and maybe he's probably having an easier time than me. That's fine. Good for them. I don't want anybody else to have to struggle with it. It's nice when you can get something that comes out of your head and you just get it. I have that about 70% of the time. The other 30%, that's the part that makes it interesting anyway. But this was good. I don't usually sketch the way that with that build-up type of thing. So I'm glad I saw that. It was an interesting thing to try. I don't think it's a bad idea. I might do that more often going forward. On that note, everybody, thanks for being here. Whether you're watching this live or later, it doesn't matter to me. I just appreciate you stopping by. Go support a creator that you like. Not me. Go find somebody. And if you can send them a little bit of money, that's great. If you just leave them some kind of positive comment or repost their work, that's great. Or just tell them that you like what they're doing. Because creators don't have it easy a lot of times. And they will appreciate any type of support you can give them. So go do that. And on that note, thanks for being here.